Good morning. Happy Monday to everybody. Hope you had a great weekend. Welcome to Mornings with Michael for informational and educational purposes only. Um, we got some big reports coming up this week. We got the inflation reports of the CPI and PPI. We'll keep you abreast on what's going on with that. And let's get to the news. Uh, Goldman Sachs noted second quarter 2023 earnings season will begin next week, and consensus expects a 9% year-over-year decline in S&P 500 EPS driven by flat sales growth and margin compression. We expect companies will be able to meet the low bar set by consensus. Negative EPS revisions for 2023 and 2024 appear to have bottomed out, and revision sentiment has improved. Goldman Sachs notes key areas of interest this quarter include ability of firms to maintain margins as inflation recedes, impact of bank stress on credit and lending, potential uses of AI, status of U.S. consumer. Citigroup is wary on how many more Wall Street stocks have to give, especially after blockbuster first half. Those analysts have downgraded U.S. equities to neutral from overweight last quarter. Our U.S. strategy team thinks megacap growth is set for a pullback, while U.S. recession risks could still bite, U.S. equity strategist Scott Kroner said Monday. On to our sector news. Cruise line CCL, NCLH, RCL, and hotel stocks H have set to grow amid specific focus on international travel, according to Barron's. Hyatt Hotels Corporation, symbol H, is Truist's favorite hotel stock, noting around 30% of its earnings come from packaged travel provider Apple Leisure Group. Royal Caribbean, ticker symbol RCL, can climb another 17% to $120, according to Stifel analysts. And airfares from the US to Europe are the highest in over 5 years, averaging $1,200 per round trip. Amazon, ticker symbol AMZN, Prime Day starts July 11th and 12th. JP Morgan recently said the event will drive incremental revenues of $5 billion, up 13% year over year from the $4.4 billion of incremental revenues they disclosed for Prime Day last year. Fisker, FSR, electric vehicle maker, announced $340 million convertible notes offering, potential to increase $680 million offering is expected to close July 11, 2023. Helen of Troy, ticker symbol HELE, quarter one adjusted EPS $1.94 versus estimate of $1.60. Energy, Industrials, and Materials, ArcBest Corporation, ARCB, said 5-year agreement with the Teamsters will implement July 16th, following ratification this week of 2 remaining supplemental agreements. AZZ Incorporated, ticker symbol AZZ, quarter one EPS $1.14 versus estimate of $1.16. Icahn Enterprises, IEP, shares rise as the Wall Street Journal reported that Carl Icahn and the banks finalized amended loan agreement Sunday that unite personal loans from the trading price of his company shares. Steel Dynamics, STLD, said unplanned outage of hot mill at Sinton, Texas, flat roll steel mill, with expectations for a start within 2 to 4 weeks or before July 30th. Plans to continue to operate cold mill and downstream added flat rolled steel coating lines during hot mill outage. Financials. Balances at the Federal Reserve overnight reserve repurchase agreement facility have declined more than the Treasury coffers have grown, an indication that some of the cash may be shifting back to bank reserves. On Friday, some 101 counterparties parked $1.822 trillion at the RRP, at the lowest since May 2022, and down from the $1.854 trillion the prior date. China's Ant Group told its shareholders it will buy back up to $6 billion in stock. The financial technology giant said that it intends to repurchase up to 7.6% of its existing shares at a price that represents a company valuation around $78.48 billion. Healthcare, Apogee Therapeutics, APGE, set terms for its initial public offering IPO, looking to raise $265.6 million, said its offering of 15.625 million shares in the IPO, which is expected to price between $15 to $17 a share. Nanobiotix and BTX shares rose after saying it signed a licensing, co-development, and commercialization agreement, potentially worth billions of dollars, with a unit of drug giant Johnson & Johnson, ticker symbol J&J. Novo, ticker symbol NVO, weight loss medications are being investigated by the European Union drugs regulator after several reports of suicidal risk were referenced to the watchdog, according to Bloomberg. Technology, Media, and Telecom, Alibaba BABA, said it's not decided whether to participate in Ant Group's buying up to 8% of its equity back at a price valuing financial services firm at 567.1 billion won, or $78.5 billion. Bumble, BMBL, shares have broken hearts, but the business looks like a winner, said Barron's, noting the stock is down almost 40% since Barron's recommended it last November. Bumble, the company which operates dating apps Bumble and Badoo, is doing just fine, however. Personal data of thousands of clients of three of the country's biggest law firms may be compromised following the massive global data theft. Kirkland & Ellis, K&L Gates, and Proskauer, multinational corporations last month, according to the ransomware group CLOP, CLOP, which took responsibility for the hack, according to the New York Post. 3D Systems Corporation's DDD is a ticker symbol, files for a mixed shelf size not disclosed. iMedia Brands, IMBI, said it has entered into an asset and equity purchase agreement to sell substantially all its assets to affiliates of RNN National Media Group for about $50 million. And that's our news for today. Let's go share our screen. Let's take a look at our heat map, S&P heat map today. Microsoft is down big. NVIDIA is down a little over 1%. Google is down big as well. Amazon and Tesla are down big, and Apple is retreating as well. The rest of the market looks pretty good. Energy continues to move in a positive direction. Financial issues as well. Restaurants, which we're going to take a look at in a few minutes, along with some oil companies and some aeronautics type companies. So that's staffing looks good, especially industrial. So that's kind of a look at our heat map. Healthcare, it seems, is bouncing back a little bit as well. So that's our heat map. For any new people who have joined us, I always go over the screen. I think most people should be an annuity or something similar, where once your values go up, they don't go back down. They step up the stairs, continually go up, where the indices pull back. And this is Index Universal Life Insurance also provides this capability. And with the upcoming long-term care coverage mandate. You can get this in Index Universal Life policy. So if you have any more questions about that, please contact us. Indices average annual growth is 7.57%, where the annuity annual growth is 12.58%. On to our charts. This is TK. We're going to look at this a little bit. This is trending upwards in the oil and gas transportation area. First, let's take a look at see what the dollar is doing. Dollar continues to pull back, and gold is bouncing back a little bit. It's still being held back by its declining 20-day moving average. Not much volume happening down here. Silver continues to bounce back. There's an article saying that with all the solar panels being built, that by 2050, we're going to run out of silver. So that's interesting. Look at our copper issues. Arrow copper continues to bounce back. And Southern Copper is being held down by its declining 50-day moving average. We'll continue to watch that. Let's see, X. And the bounce back. And we got to look at Vale. Is not doing too much. Let's look at our and our 10-year yield is pulling back pretty strongly, ahead of our inflation reports, down to 4%, was at 4.06, I believe. And we'll continue to watch this. This is what is going to either propel or pull or reverse the markets. Bond yields put pressure on multinational and all the high multiple stocks, especially on the NASDAQ. The 20 years pulling back as well. The 1 to 3 year bonds are bouncing back, so the yields are pulling back as well. But a pretty good move here. Take a look at our VIX. Shot up early in the morning and is now pulling back. We still expect it to fill in this gap down here and bounce back, but we'll continue to watch that. S&P 500 is pulled back and now it's slightly up, 0.11%. The NASDAQ bouncing off of the 20-day moving average. Look at our NASDAQ equal weight without the big numbers, and wow, look at that move. That is a pretty good move. Look at the equal weight on the S&P 500, pretty good move there as well. Take a look at IWM. Got a pretty strong bounce there. Both the banks and the Federal Reserve information, money moving back into some of those banks. Let's take a look at Dow Jones, bouncing slightly. It's the weakest area right now. Look at our financials, moving up. Energy, where the money is moving into, and we see it is now up above 10, 20, and 50-day moving average. So communication should be pulling back, which it is with Meta, Facebook, and Google pulling back. Look at that bounce in biotech. That is pretty amazing. Both indexes are bouncing pretty strongly. Take a look at our software index. Sold off, bouncing off of the 20-day moving average, which is a positive sign, and pretty sizable volume here. Take a look at technology, bouncing off of the 20-day, still a little weak. Infrastructure, bouncing off of the 10-day moving average. My fingers will type the right letters. Semiconductors are up slightly. NVIDIA is down, but some of the smaller companies are moving up. ALGM. ECLS. Look at our airlines. We're in the news with the strongest, highest prices to fly to Europe in a long time. Continues moving upwards. Industrials are bouncing. As you can see, these industrial, this sector is moving a lot better than the Dow is. Building materials, it's pretty flat. Mining is bouncing off of its 10-day moving average, is now above its 200-day moving average, which is positive. And our home builders are bouncing as well as the yield pulls back. So you can see how the yield has opposite reaction to our stocks. Yield pulls back, stocks move up. Yield moves up, our stocks pull back. So let's go take a look at some of the areas I was going to had talked about. Aviation, Joby had a huge jump. And it continues as long as it stays above this gap area. Should be pretty positive. FTAI Aviation continues its trend. It looks like pretty much an ascending base. Pretty powerful base. Earnings are in 16 days. Some pretty good volume over here. Expected to earn 26% in 24 on its earnings growth. Next, let's go take a look at energy. We looked at TK, transportation services. Schlumberger had a pretty big move on Friday. It's holding steady today. Something to keep watching as it moves up. Take a look at Weatherford. Weatherford moved past the buy zone now. Came in here, sold off. Consolidated it quite a bit, and now it's just been, we got 1, 2, 3 times, and the fourth try is successful. Pretty good volume over here. Valeris, UK-based company, is moving up. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the fifth try, and it breaks above this 200-day moving average. We've got a small issue, Bermuda bore drilling. Looks like it's trying to break through as oil prices recover. We'll continue to take a look at that one. Restaurant group. There's some ETFs in the restaurant group. Food and beverage. This one is performing a little better. Eats. Long-term capital appreciation of restaurant groups. Take a look at Yum, trying to bounce back. Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, and KFC. Sweetgreen, which is a recent IPO. If we go back here, we can see where the IPO came out. Still hasn't taken out, gotten anywhere close to the high. But it is breaking above its 200-day moving average. Pretty huge volume here. We got earnings in 17 days. Still losing money. Cava made a huge move today, up nearly 10%. We'll see if it can break. This is the IPO base. See if it can break out above that. Operates 263 restaurants across 22 states, plans to open 44 more in 2023. Got a little bit of an increase in volume here, so we'll continue to check in on that. Our sushi restaurant. Oh, I believe I pulled up the wrong one. Kura Sushi, 220% earnings growth. Had a big move on Friday and is continuing that move today. Operates 40 restaurants in California, Texas, Georgia, Illinois, and Nevada. Plans to open 290 more in the future. Earnings growth in 2024 looks to be 462%, which is wow. The earnings per share was a surprise of 191%. Taste is working on a consolidation. Carol's Restaurant Group owns over 1,000 restaurants under the Burger King brand. See if it can continue. Looks like it could be a cup with a handle. And finally, Arco Restaurant Group in Brazil, operator of McDonald's, Argentine operator of 2,300 McDonald's fast food restaurants in Latin America and Caribbean. And look at this move. It is pretty well extended right now. I would continue to watch it. If it'll do a consolidation, build another base, but this is huge volume. This is not your daddy buying the stock. And so that's our report for today. Hope you enjoyed a report. Hope you have a great week. Continue going out there, setting your goals and building your activities, and continue to amaze yourself. This has been Mornings with Michael for informational and educational purposes.